What's up, you disturbed teens, and welcome back to the Lucid Nightmare. I'm your host as always, Jay Schatzer, and today, well, I've got a fabulous late 90s horror film lined up for us. It is David Nutter's, 1998 fun flick. It is Disturbing Behavior, and this one is just really great. Every time I watch it, I just get caught up in it. Really outrageous stuff. Great cast, so let's jump right into this one. Here is Disturbing Behavior. Disturbing Behavior is a ridiculously frantic and paranoid-infused horror mystery sci-fi thriller masterwork, which takes the trials and tribulations of trying to survive through high school and cranks them up to 100. Drenched in style and drowning in attitude, the production is a hyper-realized depiction of late 90s cool, blended with an invasion of the body snatchers narrative that genuinely combines in the most tremendous of ways. Outstandingly imaginative and perfectly executed, Disturbing Behavior is the cream of the crop when it comes to teen horror material, and it's a diamond in the rough that you can't afford to overlook. The film follows an angsty teenage rebel named Stephen Clark as his family moves to the sleepy town of Cradle Bay Island in order to start a new life. Mixing it up with a few of the locals and finding fast friends with a handful of outcasts named Rachel, Gavin, and UV. Steve appears to be settling in nicely to his fresh surroundings. That is until he begins to notice that there's just something not right with the students at Cradle Bay High. An elite group of honor students named the Blue Ribbons rule the school with an iron fist, and the school's psychologist Dr. Edgar Caldecott seems to be at the center of it all, with more and more troubled students conforming to the clean-cut ways of the Blue Ribbons, and the constant psychotic breakdowns of the Blue Ribbons into crazed violence-infused maniacs. It's up to Steve and his friends to find out the answers, but what if they are the next recruits into this strange cult of preppy weirdos? James Marsden takes on the central hero role of Stephen Clark, the new student in town in a high school from hell. Marsden does a hell of a job with the character, giving Stephen a headstrong personality and an abundantly tough fortitude, which aids nicely in allowing us to back his character when shit really begins to hit the fan and the story begins to spin wildly out of control. He balances the crazy portions of the production with expert class, and he truly takes on the challenge of the flick and does it effortlessly. His progression from a fish out of water, being the new kid in school, to slowly unraveling the sinister plot at the underbelly of the story, is wonderfully laid out, and he does great in allowing us to go along on his journey in uncovering the truth. Of course, with this being an ensemble piece, Marsden doesn't do it alone, for he has a long list of accomplished performers to back him up and flesh out the cutthroat world of Disturbing Behavior. The strung-out students and delirious adults of this fantastic flick are Katie Holmes as Rachel Wagner, a brooding teenage hottie who catches the eye and heart of Stephen Clark. Nick Stahl as Gavin Strick, a wisecracking and slick-talking teen whose paranoid delusions and nagging suspicions turn out to be true. Bruce Greenwood as Dr. Edgar Caldecott, the bastard psychologist whose teen outreach program goes a little too far. William Sadler as Dorian Newberry, a weirdo janitor at the high school who quickly becomes friends with Stephen and his crew of misfits. Catherine Isabel as Lindsay Clark, Stephen's cute-as-a-button little sister. Steve Railsback as Officer Cox, a prick officer of the law and Dr. Caldecott's fervent enforcer. And finally, Chad Donnelly as UV, a pigmentally challenged loner who's as weird as he is helpful. These performers and even more help fill out this crazy Growing Pains horror flick, and they all do a perfect job in bringing this production to life. With the nail-biting concept of Invasion of the Body Snatchers, combined with the disturbing idea of losing oneself right at the age when you're just starting to become an adult, is a truly intriguing one, and the director and crew do a smashing job in realizing this fear and just running with it. The mystery behind the blue ribbons and the psychological bedlam that the film morphs into are all reflected beautifully in the overall concept, look, and feel of the entire picture. The characters are fresh and fully realized, and the themes and story are ripe with attitude and personality that you'd be hard-pressed to not be swept up into the madness of the flick. From the film's musical score and soundtrack, to the sleek way in which the film was directed, Disturbing Behavior is an unabashed gem of a flick, and is sadly overlooked because of the deluge of teenage horror films that came out around the time. It's completely witty, sensationally violent, and truly pulls no punches, and what more could you ask for in a tension-filled thriller from the late 90s? In the end, Disturbing Behavior is a rowdy teen angst horror flick that matches style and substance into one complete package of unabashed fever-driven paranoia. And there you have it, you brainwashed freaks. That is the great late 90s horror thriller, Disturbing Behavior. I forgot about this flick for a very long time, but when I watched it recently, I just remembered how great it is and how entertaining and just jam-packed the whole production is. I remember seeing it in theaters back when it first came out in '98, when I was a teenager, and loved it then, and revisited it now as an adult, love it still. Just a great production all around, really, really cool stuff, great cast, and just a hell of a lot of fun. But guys, that is it for me today. Hope you enjoyed that one, and I hope you like what I'm doing here. If you do, please like and subscribe. And if you have time, leave a comment below because I'd love to hear from you. But until then, I will see you all at the next movie review. Take care.